good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to a new session of Bisagi's Process Professor. My name is Kevin Guerrero, and I am so glad to have you all back in this session. Today, we have a new session of Bisagi's Process Professor, and we will be talking into a really interesting and amazing topic. I am really lucky to have today with me one in a special and important guest that it will be with us during the whole session. Today, the main focus, what we will be talking and covering on our today's session is going to be something related to the previous ones, to the sessions that we have in the couple last months, right? That it's everything about the new version, Bizagi Spring 2023. Remember, this is the latest version that actually we have in the market. We released it a couple months ago, and it's available for everyone now to use it, to download it, and to play around with the version. And I have been explaining a couple things about the version. I have been giving you some information in the previous versions in terms of the new capabilities, the new features. We have been even getting into some details about some capabilities or some features as the experience matrix or the app designer or the app launcher. But today, our main focus will be talking about in terms of the methodology, right? So Bizagi Apps is a completely new feature, completely new capability that we have in the market. It changed the way on how we approach to our customers. It expanded possibilities to actually create better and more custom and personalized applications for our customers. And we need to understand then what kind of things we have to do different in terms of facilitate and accelerate the construction and the build of those applications. So today's session is going to be completely focused on that. I'm going to be lucky enough to have today next with me in this Bizagi Process Professor session, Gloria Diaz, right? She is the training manager. She has been with us in Bizagi a lot of years. I was lucky enough to actually work with her at the beginning of my career here in Bizagi. She's going to explain everything that is necessary in terms of the methodology, in terms of what we need to think different, what are the steps that we need to follow, how we can actually approach and understand much better this new way on how we will be able to actually create applications. We will be able to see how actually this new version of Bizagi Spring 2023 actually use the platform, right, to facilitate the construction of the application. So in general terms, we will see how the methodology support the product and the product support the methodology, because it's the way on how we are going to guarantee and be sure that we are going to be able to actually create those applications in a really quick way. If this is the first time that you are actually connecting into a Bizagi Process Professor, so let me just explain a little bit the program, and then we just jump directly into this one. So Bisagi's Process Professor is a free space for everyone. You can connect for free. We are performing one session per month. This year, 2023, we're doing one session every third Wednesday of the month. It means we will have one session in English, one session in Spanish. And the idea is that you can come here, hear from the experts, hear from new trends in the market, hear from the new products, the new versions, the new capabilities that we're putting in the market, and that you actually can learn at this point. In general, all the sessions from Bisagi's Process Professor, we try to manage, or we try to put always the same, let's say, sections or a structure, where the idea is that every single session of Bizagi Process Professor is going to have at the beginning one topic, one main topic, where we will be discussing or covering. This can be, again, one new feature, one new capability, one new version that we have in our platform. It can be some tips and tricks, anything that we consider important for you to have. Then we're going to always have, or try to have, a live demonstration to show you how our products actually looks like when you are working. And then at the end, something really important is that you are going to have always a free space to actually make questions. And something really important about this last part is that the questions that you can put there are from absolutely anything that you want. It doesn't have to be about the topic that we are covering in the session. It can be whatever topic related to Bizagi you want to ask, right? Today, we're going to have a little different session because, of course, this one is going to be completely focusing the methodology. So it means we're not going to have a live demonstration. we're going to focus mainly in what it will be the methodology and how it will work. For today's agenda, what I'm going to do or what we're going to have is that I'm going to start with a really simple and quickly introduction about our Bizagi Spring 2023. This is the first time that maybe you are hearing about our version. I just want to give you a really high-level perspective about our version, the capabilities, and the big differentiators that we have in this version. I'm going to highlight this basic important thing that creating our applications is as easy as just the 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to just hand over completely into Gloria so she can help us with absolutely all the details, all the information, all the steps, and great examples and explanations in terms of the methodology, what we need to consider, what we need to think different in terms of the construction of Bizagi apps. Okay, so sit down, relax, and let's start this session with this quickly introduction. Okay, so Bizagi Spring 2023 is the latest version that actually we have in Bizagi. It's a version that we released a couple months ago. It's available for our customers. It's available for our partners. You can go download it, play around with the version. It's ready for you. And one of the most important things that we have in that version is this principle that we're putting in our minds, that is that the modern apps are the future. That definitely we want to focus all our future efforts, everything in terms of what we will be able to, what we want to do in terms of these modern apps. That's where we want to focus, and that's where we are going to be able to just do all the efforts that we're having. If you want to know, or if you want to actually learn more details about this specific version, Spring 2023, my advice is that you can go to Bizagi's Process Professor website, right? And we have the video library where all the videos from all the previous sessions are available for you. And you can go and take a look to the version or to the session that I did on April, that it was when I present the version in a really general way and from a high level perspective. If you want to know more details about the experience matrix, you can go and watch the session from the month of May. And if you want to see more details about the app designer and the app launcher, you can just go and watch the session from last month, the month of June, where I got into all the details. I just want to give you a really high general concept about how this version works and what are those great advantages that actually we're putting here. And the first one is that in the Spring 2023, we're introducing what it is, Bizagi Apps, and how we can define Bizagi Apps in a really simple, easy way, right? Like this back of the napkin definition that you can have. If someone asks you in an elevator and you want to give them an answer in a couple of seconds of what's Bizagi Apps, this is the definition that we're providing to you, right? So it's the easiest way on how you can create robust enterprise apps with built-in governance. And in this definition, something really important for us is that we're adding, let's say, two really important characteristics or two really important points for us that allow us to differentiate the way on how Bizagi Apps works. From one side, we're talking about the easiest way, and from the other side, we're talking about the built-in governance. So let's understand a little bit more in detail what's that about, right? So when we're talking about that is the easiest way is because we guarantee that creating our apps is as easy as the 1, 2, 3, right? And when we're seeing the 1, 2, 3 is that you can complete basically 3 basic steps that will allow you to create your applications. The first big step is actually the creation of the app. And the creation of that app is where we're going to use one of the most amazing new capabilities that we have on this version, that is the Bizagi Experience Matrix, right? Remember that the Bizagi Experience Matrix is basically this new view that we have in our development environment. It means it's available within Bizagi Studio, where you will be able, in a really simple view, in a really simple way, to understand the different ways on how personas interacts with business objects, and the intersection between these two elements are the interactions that at the end are processes that we want to have. So it's where we're going to have the basic example of, we are going to have a doctor that has access to the patients, and the intersection between those two is this, that they can order some medicines for the patient. So that experience metric, that is this new capability within Bizagi Spring 2023, is the one that will allow you to compose your application, to create that application and define all the different elements that are required for your application to work, right? This simplified view is going to be so powerful because it's going to be easy for to understand for everyone within the organization, but at the same time, detailed enough to complete the whole implementation that is required. Once that we have that first step of the compose our application or create our application, we can just move to the second one. And that second step is going to have two main parts. From one side, we will be talking about the customization of the UI and the UX. This is where the app designer is going to take place. This is where we will be able to actually use all the elements that we define in that first step of the compose app, in that experience metric, and use those elements to build and customize our applications from a UI perspective. We can customize the colors, the backgrounds, include images, adding reports, whatever is needed, we can add it with drag and drop capabilities that we have over there. In this second step, at the same time, we also have something else that is this extend components. That is, imagine these as Lego pieces, as building blocks, small building blocks that we will create within Bizagi Studio that will allow me to accelerate the construction of my applications or customize my applications within the app design. And finally, once that we have these two steps done, we will be able to move to the third one, where we have now the opportunity to actually publish our applications. And when we say that we're going to publish our applications, we're saying that here is where that additional new element or new capability that we have in the product, called the app launcher, is going to be available for you. Is the app launcher the place where all the applications that me as a user has access? I am going to be able to see all those applications in just one place, that is that app launcher. And from that app launcher, once that I click on one of those applications, then I am going to enter into the full power of the application that was created for me, right? So as easy as 1, 2, 3 is just to complete these 3 steps. Again, if you want to know more details about any of these steps, my advice is go and check previous sessions of Process Professor, where we enter into more detail about this. Now, the second big superpower that we got when we're talking about the Bizagi Apps capability is the built-in governance at all levels. And the main idea between this built-in governance is that we're capable to control in different levels who has access to our applications. Because something that we have been seeing, and actually it's not only us, but the analysts, right? Gartner, Forrester, what they are saying in the market is that one of the biggest challenges for organizations that decide to do process automation or low code or digital transformation in general is to have proper governance capabilities. So what we have done in this Spring 2023 is to add actually capabilities within the platform that allow us to control that governance in multiple levels. We have basically 3 levels. The first one is a governance at the level of the application. This is mainly that with our platform, we will be able to ensure that only users with right permissions, with right access, will be able to see the information that they need to see, right? So I am going to be sure that one specific user can only see some reports or some information from a customer or some information from the patient. I understand who is the user, and based on that user, I'm going to give access to what he needs. The second level of the governance that we have here is for more mature companies that are, let's say, maybe more ahead in this journey of digital transformation, and is governance in program levels, where the idea is that we can offer to those customers support to actually handle and manage in a much better way these centers of excellence, where they are growing the processes and where they are actually creating a much more mature process. And the final level, it is everything in terms of the developer levels. We're now here, what we're talking about, it's the platform must be flexible enough to understand that developers can have different skills, different capabilities, different knowledge. And based on that, the platform must be flexible enough to offer different capabilities for each of them. So this last level, that is the one that is at the developer level, allow us to create, right, different profiles within the developers And based on that profile, once that you enter into the Bizagi Studio, the development tool that we got to create our applications, we will be able to display some capabilities or to hide capabilities according to the developer that is accessing the app, the Bizagi Studio. So this is the second big, let's say, power or differentiator that we got when we're working with Bizagi Apps. Now, before we enter deeply into all the topics about the methodology, I want just to highlight that when we were working in the creation of Bizagi Apps, we have two main objectives in mind. And is that we want to put in one single platform in Bizagi the best of both worlds. And when we were talking about the best of both worlds, were how can we use all the benefits, all the great advantage, all the great things that we know for so many years in the automation or in the process automation step space, and combine that one with all the new trends and all the new capabilities of the low-code platforms. So what we have done with Bizagi Apps is that we combine everything in just one single platform. So from one side, we're actually having everything in terms of the benefits from process automation. What are the elements that we have it in the process automation here? So basically, we're having all the things in terms of the standardization, right? Into the improve the operational efficiencies, right? Into governance and compliance. On the other hand, we have all the benefits in terms of the low code, right? Into the enterprise low code apps that there we're talking about the modularity, into the personalization, into how can we reuse elements that we got within our application to build applications in a much faster way. And just there in the middle is where Bizagi resides. This is where Bizagi lives with the new capability of our Bizagi apps, okay? And now, finally, I just want to highlight something else, and it's that please keep in mind and remember that when we were working before Bizagi Spring 2023, we were offering additional and amazing features for a process automation, but at the time we were focusing mainly in the transactional or case workers type of users. Those are the typical users that actually has some main objective to just go into the application, find the list of tasks that they have to complete in one day, and complete as many tasks as they can and as faster as they can. So that's why the approach for them was to provide what we call the prioritized inbox. That is, they enter, they see the task, due date, and they start working over there. With Bizagi Apps, what we're doing is to actually is expanding these capabilities, is offering more options and more way on how different type of users or different type of personas can actually interact with the applications. So now we're providing options for those managers or for those knowledge workers that maybe have or want to see the list of tasks that they have pending to complete. But for them, the most important thing is how to see the operation, how the operation is running, how many cases do we have open, how many patients are ready for surgery, how many credit cards are pending for approval. I want to have a high-level view of how my operation is going, and based on that to take actions quickly, right? So if I see that I have too many patients going for surgery, maybe I want to have something that allow me to reschedule one surgery, right? Or if maybe I am having too many credit cards overdue without an approval, I can reassign. So how, combining those dynamic dashboards, insight, and actions, I can provide better experience for managers and knowledge workers. And something important with this is that as I was explaining here, before we were focusing a lot in what it will be the prioritized inbox. And those prioritized inbox were mainly focused in what it was processes. So it means that every single time that we want to start a new project or we want to start improving an existing process, our conversation was a lot of process centric, right? My conversation was like, okay, dear customer, please tell me how your process works. And then, based on the information that they are giving to us, we were translating those words into just diagrams, right? So, okay, starting event, then activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, validation. And we were changing everything in terms into just one process. But with Bizagi Apps, we want to go further than that. We don't want to just keeping the conversation just in terms into the process. We want to move the conversation into something different. And that's why it's so important that now we understand how our methodology, our conversations, and the type of the information that I'm going to gather from the customers will change. Probably I will need still to get all the information from the processes, yes, but also we are adding like an additional layer where we need to get new information that before we didn't get. And for this is where I am going to actually present and introduce to you my special guest, that, as I was telling you at the beginning of the session, is actually Gloria Diaz, right? And as I was mentioning at the beginning, she is the training manager. She has been working in Bizagi for multiple and many years with us. I was lucky enough to actually work with her at the beginning of my experience here in Bizagi. And Gloria is going to help us to get into all the details in terms of the methodology. That methodology that now we need to understand in much detail. We need to understand what is changing, what are those steps that maybe now we have to do with more details, and Gloria is going to give you all the details here. So first of all, Gloria, thank you so much for being today with us. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. I hope that you have a great time, and please, let's go with all the methodology.
Thank you, Kevin, for this great introduction. It's lovely to be here with you, sharing this space that you have created. So thank you for the invite. And let's start with the topic that we have for today, that is the new Bizagi methodology. And let me change the slide. The new Bizagi methodology. And I have prepared for you some questions to introduce the topic so we can explore and analyze different answers and to build the topic with the questions. So the first question that we have for you today is, what's a methodology? And basically we can say that a methodology is a plan to find a solution, or is a plan of actions to find a solution. It's like a recipe that you follow to get the best result. Have you ever prepared a cake, Kevin?
I tried it. Probably I didn't get the best result, but yes, I tried it a couple times.
Let's imagine you wanted to prepare a cake for your mom's birthday. So the first thing is to look for a recipe because you want to have a delicious cake. Does it right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, when you have a recipe, it has accumulated the experience of many attempts of this same recipe. This recipe gives us the possibility to follow the different steps to achieve an objective, following the learning captured in the recipe. So the objective, of course, is to have or to achieve a delicious dish, well presented. Let's imagine the cake following the steps in a specific order with the necessary ingredients. In the case of Bizagi, the ingredients that we need, a customer need to get an incredible app. So, and when you follow a recipe to create a cake, do you want to achieve a delicious cake? And this is the first benefit of following a methodology. We can deliver predictable and reproducible results. And this is consistency that is really important in any project. Since it's a proven recipe, it is backed by experience and knowledge, and increase the probability, this increase a lot, of getting high quality results, and of course avoid mistakes. It saves time because it provides a clear guidance on how to approach a specific task, and it provides a framework or a common language better to facilitate the collaboration among the different collaborators or personas in the team. And this is important because we have now multicultural teams, for example. So this is really important. also, it offers flexibility because we can adapt the methodology according to the context or the circumstances that we face. So this is, in general terms, what's a methodology. But let's connect more with Visagi. And for that, we have the following question. So the question that we have on the screen is, what's an app and what's an app? We have seen with Kevin a little bit. I have really two definitions here, two different ways to see what is an app. So it's a business solution first to help people to solve a problematic situation, a pain for multiple personas, because our organizations have different groups of people and they are powered by processes. We know the power behind the process automation. So this is a definition, short definition of an app. It's a business solution for multiple personas powered by processes. Using another analogy, a restaurant. Kevin, the last time that you went to a restaurant, did you ask the same dish that your friends?
No, for sure. Each of them orders something different.
Of course, the menu offers us many alternatives to have a dinner. Even though it's the same restaurant, each person enjoys the menu in different ways. The same happens with an application. Under the same context, that is the restaurant in this analogy, each person solves their needs using an application according to the characteristics of their job. So it is completely different the way that we can see every application. Another way to explain an application, it's in the next slide here. So we have two states, the state number 2 and the state number 1. The difference between these two states is the problem definition or the problem that we have found. Additionally, we have different people involved, and we can recognize that we have different group of users that we call personas because share the same responsibilities and the same roles in this organization. And each persona has an application that is the way to solve, to overcome this problem definition. But this application, and this is really important, is not identical for all the people. It is customized according to the work phase by the different users that we are considering. So this is the definition of an application that is a multi-persona solution. Having answered these questions, the next question is why our methodology changes. And Kevin has already give a little answer about this. Basically, if our product changes, our methodology must change because our methodology support our product. And let's remember what changes do we have in our product. So I know Kevin has already explained it, these changes, but summarize these changes. Now we have the possibility to combine the power of the process automation with the generation of modern applications. We have the power to design applications based on the needs of each identified persona. So we are combining two powers. And these are materialized in the experience matrix included in Bizagi Studio. This experience matrix cross personas and business data or business objects. And the intersection between the personas and the business objects are the interactions. What a persona can do on a business object or on a business data. So we have already talked a lot about personas. Let's define it properly. A persona is a group of users with a similar behavior or responsibilities or roles. And associated with personas or people, we have the first principle in our methodology, that is people-centered. And what does it mean? What does it mean people-centered? We want to understand any problem, any pain in terms of the different group of users associated with this. We want to be empathic. It means to put us in the shoes of our users to create customized solutions that really help them. This allows us to offer them customized solutions. It means real solutions for real problems because we really understand the client's problems. Solutions that really help our clients to overcome their problems. And this slide is really important and is one of the most important slides in my presentation because it's a change, is the change that we see the projects in Bizagi. As Kevin mentioned before, maybe we were more process-centric. Now we are more people-centered. So this is really important. And in my next slide here, I have the counter example. I call this maze interfaces. And the idea is not to offer maze interfaces. I call this in this way because offer many paths for everybody. No one understands clearly. There are not clear roads. Everybody's confused. Nobody can find the option appropriated according to their job, and they are not really efficient. So we wanted to offer the opposite of maze interfaces. That's why people is really important in our definition. So this is the first principle, that is, we are people-centered. Going back to our original question, what are the changes in our methodology? Let's remember our methodology. So we have here basically our Bizagi on-target methodology is based on a set of principles and best practices to guide the entire cycle of a transformation project. Some of the stages of the methodology are on the screen, so we can see it. Discovery, understand the problem, the first one. Design the solution, the second one. And in this one, we are going to focus and we'll see the major changes here. Build, to build the solution, of course. Certify, to test the solution, and deploy the solution or to implement. Our on-target methodology has proven throughout many and different successful implementation. That is a very successful methodology. So we wanted to keep most of this knowledge and rethink only the specific points needed to support our product in this case, the design part. And here we have the steps considered in the design part. Let me show you the sum of this step. So we have here the 3 steps, the 3 diamonds that we are considering in the design steps. The first diamond, starting from a problem, is define this problem properly. The second, that is the orange one, is design a solution. Of course, we need to understand the problem to design it. and then validate the solution. The first, define the problem, is understanding the needs in terms of the different personas that we have identified in this step. The second, design a solution in terms of a experience matrix, and this is really important. We are designing based on the experience matrix. And the last one, validating based on the customer feedback that we receive when we show them prototypes. And we can say that our design step is also 1, 2, 3. Define the problem, design the solution, and validate the solution. 1, 2, 3. And here appears the second principle in our methodology. What is this second principle? It's very important to understand in detail each diamond that I have in the screen. The second principle is that we wanted to combine or to use divergent and convergent thinking. And maybe you're wondering what's divergent and convergent thinking. And the answer is divergent thinking implies exploration, open, receive, while convergent thinking implies definition, concrete, an idea, define. So we have these two. In the first part, we have generate ideas, explore different alternatives, create using creativity. But at some point, we need to define and we need to select, we need to concrete to continue with the next step. And in this case, we have selecting best alternative, definition, and use critical analysis to concrete. The advantage, what is the advantage of this combination? The combination gives us balance between a broadly understanding and making a decision to proceed. So this balance is very important to have the right answers in each step. So this is the second principle. And if we apply this principle to the steps that we have considered in the design, we can understand better how to achieve each step or each diamond in the design. So let me show you how to apply this principle to these design steps. So the first one, understand the problem, and this is divergent, as you can see on the screen. By exploring various sources, interviews, questionnaires, user stories, the idea is to get a broad view of the situation, to understand, to collect information. So this is the first one. But the second, at one point, we need to concrete and we need to define what is the problem. And in this case, we have the second that is define. So we need to frame the problem and define the personas and their needs. Here we have a clear definition of this problem based on the point of view of the personas involved. And this is really important to have a clear definition of the problem. So this is the second step. Based on this definition, we need to iterate, and again, we are using divergent thinking. We are playing with business objects, personas, and interactions, and how the personas can modify this business object, and we are playing to find solutions to the definition of the problem that we have, how a person can solve the different challenges that they have. And here also we consider reports. It's very important And in this case, we are playing with different alternatives. But again, we need to concrete, and the solution needs to be defined. And in this case, we have the fourth step, that is design. And here we use the experience matrix. Remember that the experience matrix captures at one point the experience of multiple users or personas uh, through the intersection of capture the experience of multiple personas with the different interactions that we are including in this matrix. So this is the experience matrix, and the design. In general terms, we are capturing the solution using the experience matrix. Then we create the prototypes, and in this case, we generate different prototypes to communicate the solution that we have designed in the experience matrix, and to make tangible the matrix. That is very intuitive, but it's easier for a user to understand and screen than the experience matrix. And finally, to validate, asking feedback about the solution, and finally to get a solution design. These are the steps. We cannot forget that the experience matrix and the solution and the interactions that we are including most are processes, and this is why we said that the applications are powered by processes. And this is the third principle that we have already mentioned, and these are the three principles and the main steps that I have brought to you. Now, an example. So let me show you an example. Imagine this business situation in a bank. Challenge of growing the share of the credit card market, as you can see on the screen. And we are going to do the exercise to go through the different steps that I have shown to you. And let's start with the first one. So, and before starting, it's important to recognize that we are not starting with a process. And this is an important key point. This is a pain, but it's not really a process. It could be a combination of several processes. So this is the important point, is an important point to highlight. So the first step, understand. So we need to gather as much information as possible. For example, who has the power to drive the growth, who interacts with the customers, what factors increase the appealing of choosing one bank or another. So this is the first one, understand. And we are collecting a lot of information with interviews, questionnaires, and with user stories, if we have it. They are so important. And the second, define the problem. So we need to identify the personas, and according to this identification, understand the problem according to their needs. In this case, we have mainly, in this simplified example, we have two: account manager and director of account management. So the account manager has different needs than the director. Basically, they need the agility to drive credit cards applications, while the director needs visibility into the different campaigns and, for example, filter according to the account executive, according to different type of credit cards or different factors of interest. So these are the personas, and we need to understand the problem according to the persona included. It is different for each persona. So this is the definition of the problem according to the different personas. And in the next step, that is ideate, we start identifying possible solutions that help them to meet these needs. In this case, what should they do to solve this challenge? For example, create customers, create credit card applications, upgrade credit cards, execute campaigns. This is about expanding the solution space. And in this step, we have, for example, the business objects. In this situation, for example, we have client, very important, credit cards, the main one, campaigns, how the director can, for example, change the numbers, change the share of the market. And this is the third. But in one point, after analyze the possible solutions and all the processes and all the business objects that we have, in one point, we need to concrete and define. And in this case, we have the fourth step, that is design. And this is based on the experience matrix that crosses people and business objects. And here we have a example. Here we have the account manager and the director, the personas, and we have the different business objects. In this case, we have 3, and we have that the account manager, for example, can create a client, so can manipulate this business object, but also can submit a credit card application and upgrade a credit card. So we have these interactions associated to the account manager. And also we have the director. In this case, he can create campaigns, and based on this also see the reports of credit cards to monitor the actions and identify if these are successful or not. So we have the experience matrix, and in one point we can see the experience that we are offering to these 2 personas that we have identified, and we can see that are completely different according to their needs. And the 5th step is prototype, generate different prototypes to make the matrix experience matrix tangible. So we have here one example. In this case, we have on a screen where we can see, for example, when we can see, for example, the home, another page associated to clients, another associated to the request of the credit cards, other associated to the upgrades, and we can explain the different details and options that we are including in this experience matrix. And based on the feedback, validate, receive the feedback, and refine the solution to finally get a solution design validated. And these are the different steps that we have to design a solution. Of course, this process is not linear. It's iterative process based on the different learnings that we have in each step. For example, in the last one, when we validate the prototypes, we change the prototypes according to the feedback that we can receive. Uh, but also, these prototypes can change the definition that we have in the experience matrix and so on. For example, we can even change the definition of the problem according to the learnings that we have along the whole process. And this is very important that it is not 1, 2, 3, 4. I have explained in this order, and naturally, we are going um, through the definition and the design and the validation, but we can learn and go back to a previous stage. So, to summarize, the major change that we have in our methodology is in the design, and we have 3 diamonds, that is, define the problem, design the solution, and validate the solution.
Amazing, Gloria. Thank you so much for all this amazing information. All this, it's really, really important that we see how actually we're changing and how these steps that Gloria just mentioned are really important for the new type of conversations that we need to have when we're now approaching or trying to create an application. It's not only that the product has evolved. It's not only that Bizagi Spring 2023 has all these amazing capabilities, but also is our methodology and the way on how we're going to interact and work with new projects has to change, and we need to start doing that switch into our mind into maybe something more into apps and not just processes. So Glory, thank you so much